This is the Testosterzone Podcast with Noel, Keith, and Steve. And now, brace yourself for greatness.
Hey everybody, this is Steve, and I'm back with Noel and Keith, and we have our good buddy Josh along with us for this episode as well.
I'm glad you're able to join us again, bud.
Awesome. Glad to be back.
Welcome back.
And we have a pretty fun little episode today. We're bringing a good buddy of ours that we know from college back in the day. His name is Josh, and he's going to talk to us about 811. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. But, we don't have a whole lot. We don't have a whole lot planned for this. So this is going to be sort of a shoot from the hip show and possibly a little fun. We're going to play a little recording later on to see what exactly do you hear, Yanni or Laurel. And right now our group is split. So we'll see how
50-50, isn't it?
Yeah, sure is.
It definitely is.
So anyway, looking forward to hearing what our audience has to say about that as well, because
we're going to do a poll. We're definitely doing a poll on this one.
Yeah. So we definitely need to do that.
So, hey, Steve, you're in a different part of Alaska now, right?
Absolutely. I'm up in Fairbanks, Alaska this week.
Fairbanks.
How's the weather up there?
Man, it's beautiful today. It's 53 for a high and blue skies, and sort of like a plains area in the middle of Alaska. So you see the mountains way off in the far distance, and you can see the Denali Mountains, which are really pretty. But
I bet that's awesome.
That's
tomorrow
cool.
night supposed to be prime viewing for the aurora lights. I'm hoping that the weather cooperates so I can finally see those things.
You better take a picture so we can post it, man.
We'll do.
This is our time. We've been waiting for this moment.
I know.
Do you think you'll be able to see Uranus tomorrow?
I'm sure of it. I'll make sure I call 811 before I look at it. So
because you're gonna have to dig deep for that one.
Yeah, really. So, hey, Noel, how's the weather your way?
Alaskan. It's groovy where I'm at. It's hot and moist. There's nothing, no difference though. Any other week, but anyway, how things up in your neck of the woods there, Keith?
Well, you saw the pictures, right? So another haboob, and today another one. Wow. 2 in a row.
Really?
This is ridiculous. And so, and I have a witness because we have our first in-studio guest. So we're not actually remotely visiting with somebody. So Josh is here. What's up, buddy? Hey. So he's actually come he's arrived at our house, and so we're recording here together. So this will be our first in-studio guest, and so we're excited to have him. And I'm gonna throw a little shade at y'all because he came to record with me. I got a gift. I got some Star Wars chargers, and I know that doesn't matter a hill of beans to you, Steve, but man, after last week's episode, it's pretty lit. I'm just gonna say, this is. I'm Hundo P excited. I'm telling you. So,
dubs all the way.
Yes, yeah. See, Josh is freaking out, going, "What are you talking about?" So we're gonna have to catch him up.
Yeah, Josh, thanks for being a loyal listener and proving that you don't listen to all 15 episodes, 16 episodes.
Exactly. Totally called on that one.
Steve, I have 2 teenagers, dude, but I still don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah, right. It doesn't matter. You got the teenagers or not, you have no clue what they mean. So Josh, now I understand that you live down by Noel, but he lives in like Fort Knox, so that's why we had to record here. Is that right?
Well, yeah, it's a lot easier to get to your house than his.
It's easier to get to Keith's house than my house.
Yes. From what I understand, you live in Fort Knox, man. So that's why it's like, heck with it. I'm just going to go to West Texas and record with you. I can't even see Noel without a password and a Uranus pitch. So
exciting. That's awesome.
So Josh, tell us a little bit about yourself, buddy.
Well, I like Long Beach walks at night. Oh, sorry.
Good time. Hey, you've got a lot of beach here, just no water. You're in the right place for beach.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what do you want?
Tell us about you, family, what you do for a living.
Well, obviously, I do outreach and PR and education for 811, which is the call before you dig number.
We're going to talk a lot about that.
We'll talk about that a little bit later, but mainly, like I said, father of 2 teenagers, but I got 2 right behind them that are the preteens, I guess, or tweens. So that's always fun. But great kids and great family, and just really happy to be here with you, wonderful gentlemen.
Well, we're glad you're here too. And so you shared something with me earlier that, we're all Astros fans here, including you, but you got to do something pretty awesome here in March, and we're jealous. So share with us what you got to do.
It was pretty sweet. We actually we sponsored the Houston Astros and Rangers game on March 31st, and in part of that sponsorship, we got I got the dubious honor of one hopping the first pitch in at Arlington Field, which was really, really cool. Super bucket list item in front of about 45,000 people, which was, they didn't really care about me, but it was super fun. And it just shows, if you ever get that chance, make sure that you do practice, because if not, you will look like a total dillweed in one hopping it in. But it was super fun getting that out there and being able to enjoy that. So,
it could be worse, man. I've seen some really, really terrible. There was a video I saw, I think on Facebook or someplace somewhere this week, where the guy threw the ball and it like hit the cameraman or something.
If you go to YouTube,
away from
if
home
you go to
base,
YouTube, there's definitely a long list of blooper videos for first pitches. It's pretty hilarious.
I bet they've got some good ones out there. Holy cow.
Well,
yeah.
So Josh, at least you stayed off of YouTube.
That's right.
So that's
for
good.
Now.
The guy that caught the ball totally made it look like I didn't one hop it, but the ball still has the skid mark on it. So,
and that wasn't because you were nervous, right?
Right.
Okay. Just clarify.
Right.
Hey, which player caught the ball for you?
Oh wow. Because it was a Ranger, so I really didn't care.
Because they
did the one thing that they couldn't do, the one thing the Astros could do, which was win Game 7 of the World Series.
Oh,
right on, Josh.
And you also got to go on.
Josh is already one of our best guests.
Yeah, right. Already he's up there with the top. So you also got to go up into the control room, right, and listen to the play-by-play.
Yeah. The actual Rangers play-by-play. Their announcers, kind of like Harry Carey, Hall of Famer, and I can't remember his name either. And I totally don't kill me on it, but I was actually wearing an Astros jersey underneath the Rangers jersey when I was doing it, and they kind of called me out on it. And I said, "Well, I'm just son from Houston, so what do you expect?"
Right.
And but it was really cool because the guy had like 15 notebooks with all the stats from last year. When you hear those guys talk about. Well, last year versus right-handed pitchers, he was 385 or whatever, and they just have stats out the wazoo, and just to watch their professionalism and the way they do things was just phenomenal. It was really cool. There's like being in when you listen to the radio, but you're there.
Yeah.
So it was super cool to watch how it was like Bob Uecker in Major League. It was just a bit outside because McCullers was pitching that game, and he actually got hit by a line drive, and it hit him. Oh. And when the guy called it, he just didn't lose a hitch, and he's like, "Yep." And Lance McCullers last year, and I was like, "Wow!" It was really neat to be a part of that. So it was pretty cool.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I can't imagine, think about the stats that those guys have to keep, and to be able to know where to turn to look for this one person and what his stat was. That's got to be hard to do. I listen to some of those sportscasters. I'm like, man, they have got to have like 800 people behind them. There's like flipping resources, throwing laptops.
No,
it's just one dude, huh?
It was funny because he almost missed a pitch.
Uh-huh.
And they had to go to a commercial right afterwards. And I was like, "What are you doing? You missed it." And he goes, "Honestly, sometimes I just make stuff up. Nobody knows."
That's true.
I was like, "Wow."
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, unless they're right there listening to the ball game while you're there, why not?
It was kind of like some of those folks in the other band, band one. Just make stuff up.
Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna have to describe and explain this at some point, aren't we? So.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
We will.
So speaking of band, we known Josh, God, was it at least 25 years now, Josh, we've known each other?
20, no.
Jeez.
Yeah, 20.
It's in that range.
It's 24, 20.
Yeah, almost 25.
20 plus.
Almost 25, yeah. Holy cats, yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah, so we've known Josh almost as long as we've known anybody, and
really has.
We've definitely had some good times in the band and at Texas Tech, and then Josh and I even worked together in our retail careers for a while.
He's representing in a Tech jersey too tonight, so we're good.
Yeah,
Nice.
So he definitely came in style, man. So Josh, introduce 811. Tell us a little bit about what you do for the company. Tell us a little bit about what the company does in its service. And really, this is pretty a good time that we're doing this episode because we're coming into the summer months. Lots of people like to do outside work, trying to prepare their backyards, trying to prepare things around their lawns, etc. Businesses too. So this is a really kind of a timely thing because you really don't want to screw up while you're out there doing that. It could really end up, messing with you and your property. So tell us a little bit about what you do, what the 811 service is, and this would be a good time for our listeners to learn a bit more about this.
Oh, absolutely. Well, here's the long and short of it for what I do is outreach, public education, that part of that side of the business. And that really isn't the important part. The important part is actually talking about what actually 811 is. And it doesn't matter if you're in Fairbanks, Alaska, or Miami, Florida, or New York, or Portland, Oregon, or wherever. 811 is the national call before you dig number. That it does not matter what state you are. It's the 3-digit number you can call to have your utility lines marked. So if you're doing any type of work in your backyard, whether it be putting in a rose bush or putting in a pool, doing massive road construction, putting in new pipelines, that you call to get the existing utility lines marked so they aren't damaged when you do that work. It is an absolutely free service. The service is paid for, like, my company who handles the one call side of it. We're the ones the operators that answer the phone, take down the information, and then send it out to the utility lines, or the utility companies, to have those lines marked. It doesn't cost, like, Noel, if you're going to put in, say, you're going to put in a pool at your house. The company that's going to put in the pool, they need to call, not you. The company that's actually doing the digging needs to call to make sure that they have the lines marked, because you have a lot of utility lines going to your house, not only your natural gas line, your electric line, your cable television line, and your telephone line. And those are the lines that you really need to worry about, because everybody's like, well, the lines they're deep. Well, no, they're not. I mean, your telecommunication lines, which is your phone and your cable TV, might be 3-4 inches underneath the ground.
Oh, wow.
And you can snap those with a spade shovel really quickly. Huh. And everybody's like, well, that means I can't call grandma or Aunt Susie or get a date for Saturday night or whatever. That's not the case. A lot of people are running their businesses out of their homes, and it can cost a lot of time and a lot of money for something that is out. And it doesn't. The only thing that honestly costs you is time, because you have to call 2 business days, which is a Monday through Friday, minus holidays, before you actually dig to have those lines marked.
You said 2 days before? 2 business days?
2 days, 2 business days before. And we honor all of the state holidays here in Texas. And then you don't count Saturdays and Sundays in that. So mainly it's a Monday through Friday type thing, as long as there's not a state holiday in there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And this is for utility lines. I melike, but it wouldn't be for something like my sprinkler system or something like that. If I
No. And especially like the area that Keith's in, not really the area that you and I live in down in the Houston area. That part's a little different, because if your gas meter is on the side of your house, then your private side of your gas line is that little bar from the top of the meter that goes into the house. But in places like where I'm at now, the gas meters are on the curbs or they're in the alleys, and those are from the meter to the house. That's a private line, so that will not be marked. So there's some different things in there that follow into the private side, and the sprinklers would be part of that. If you have an existing pool that you have a gas line going to your pool, that will not be part of it. It's only the parts that are actually owned by the utility companies.
Gotcha. Okay.
I know that kind of convoluted it, but
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. Basically, if you put it in, then it's your responsibility. But if it's something that one of the utility companies put in, then it would fall into the purview of 811.
Right. And a lot of people are like, well, it's not really that big of a deal. Actually, it's a huge deal. In the state of Texas last year, we got 3.2 million calls.
Wow.
That's how many people that actually let us know that they were going to be doing digging around. Now that was the Department of Transportation down to Joe homeowner, putting in a rose bush for his wife on a honeydew list. So it was all kinds of work.
So tell me, what are some of the weirdest things that you've had called in?
Well, somebody asked us that, and my answer is, burying a body, and everybody thinks I'm, full of it, but actually, no, we've seen that.
Oh my gosh!
And to be perfectly honest with you, the one that I've seen the most often on that is, if a service horse, a police horse something happens to it, they have to bury it immediately. That's protocol. And we've had plenty of those get called in as emergencies. We've also honestly, the weirdest one was exhuming of a body as part of an investigation.
Wow.
Where they had to dig up a body. That wasn't here in Texas. That was actually in Louisiana. But
makes more sense there.
Well, yeah, but it's
hey, nobody in Louisiana is listening to us yet, so we can call them out.
Yeah, that's right. That's what they get. We'll talk behind their back.
That's right. But yeah, you would be surprised. Before I worked for the call center, I was one of the guys that went out there and located for over 10 years. So I've seen a lot of stuff over the time that'll make your head spin and just make you scratch your head. And it's amazing some of the stuff that goes on out there.
Yeah, I bet. I can only imagine.
So you travel all over the place.
Yes.
Where is your geography? Is it the U.S. or is there a certain area?
My area of concern is anything that says Texas.
Okay.
But I travel to Nebraska and Maryland and
West
Arizona.
Texas. Yeah, West Texas, which is a whole nother country.
Well, it's funny. My company actually handles 17 states as far as handling the one call for it. I'm just based out of the Texas market, but I've gone multiple other places. I've been in Nebraska, I've been in Missouri, I've been in Tennessee, depending on where some of our clients are based, not here, but based in different states. So we have to travel there to do training and stuff for them. So.
Have you been up near Amarillo?
Yeah, a couple times.
So have you by chance seen a car that looks like a Chinese takeout box? Looking for storm? That's a callback to our episode 15. You're welcome.
No, I haven't.
You got to listen to episode 15 now,
I
Josh.
do. You're right. I think I'm a little behind because unfortunately, I try to listen to it when I drive because I've only got 20,000 miles logged this year.
Yeah, since January.
So,
wow. Are you serious?
Yes, I am.
What do you? Golly, it's a lot.
Well, the funny thing was, I was here in West Texas yesterday. I flew in yesterday morning and I flew out last evening, and then within 12 hours, I was back at the same airport, one gate away from where I landed last night, and then I flew into one gate from where I took off yesterday evening. So it's been a whirlwind, and when I leave tomorrow. Next week I got to come back again on Monday or Tuesday.
And you were just here yesterday.
And I was just here yesterday.
And he flew home and then flew back here for today and tomorrow and is coming back next week.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Josh, this place isn't that cool. I promise.
That sounds like poor planning.
Well, actually, what happened?
What happened was part of my job is to do training for oil field, and sometimes they are good planners and sometimes they're not good planners. And the gentleman that I did a training for yesterday had my information for the past 3 weeks and called me Monday and said, "Hey, I really need you out here to do this training." I was like, "Oh yeah, when?" And he goes, "Tomorrow morning." And I went, "Let me check the flights."
Well, of course you do.
But the nice part about my job is I do get, the frequent flyer points and the stuff like that. So that
What airline do you typically fly?
Southwest, but I also do United. So sometimes it's Southwest, sometimes it's
as long as they keep the windows on, that's all good.
Exactly.
Somebody wanted to roll them down the other day, and I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. I was like, why don't we get her another drink?
Yeah, it's probably.
I'll tell you what, Noel just screwed up our chances to have the Testosterone sponsored by Southwest Airlines.
Really?
With that little smart remark.
Yeah.
We can edit that part out.
Dang it! I could just see it on the wing too, on the fin. You know.
Yeah. Listen to the Testosterone podcast with Noel, Keith, and Steve.
That's right. Could you imagine? We're gonna have to have it wrapped on both sides for that long. That'd be awesome, though. Oh man.
Josh, I know that we've talked. You've run into some celebrities and famous people while doing various events with 811. Who all have you met?
Actually, the coolest thing I've met, coolest folks I've met, we actually had Paul Jr. Designs do a motorcycle for us, and then last year he did a car for us. So we actually have a 811 chopper, an 811 car, and so I got to spend some time with Paul Jr. and Mikey Tuttle. And I'll tell you what, those two guys are super, super cool and super down to earth. Also got to meet and hang out with the flag bearer at the Sydney Olympics. His name is Cliff Meidel, and he's a big advocate of 811 because in 1986 he was severely burned, had a severe electrical burn because he had gotten into a 3-phase, which is the same. A 3-phase is the same thing that's running on on the highway lines, the 3 lines that run along the highway. Call it a 3-phase. And he jackhammered into a 3-phase when he was 18, 19 years old, and almost lost both of his legs, and ended up in the Atlanta Olympics was a kayaker. And then in Sydney, he was a kayaker, and he got to carry the American flag during the opening ceremonies. And those are some really cool people that I got to meet and actually have become friends with, and because of this whole 811 venture that I never thought I would be able to do other than hanging out with you really cool guys. But these guys are pretty cool too.
That is awesome.
That's pretty cool. What's cooler, hanging out with the on the Testosterone podcast or Paul Jr.?
It's really close, but I'm going to have to say the Testosterone podcast because I get to hang out with you guys because
officially your best guest ever.
You accept me for who I am and who I was.
I'm gonna give you a shovel because that's a lie.
Hey, Josh, we really appreciate you joining us on the podcast and sharing everything about 811. For our listeners, do you mind sort of recapping how they can contact their local people and get connected with you?
Absolutely. Obviously, you need to call, and that would be 811. I know that sounds really corny, but
where's the 11 button?
Just so you know that the number to 811 is 811.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter where you are. The only time you'll have problems with that is if you're on state lines. Sometimes the cell towers bounce between. So there are 1-800 numbers that are coincide with that. But usually 811 will get you where you need to go. If you get the wrong state, if you're like in Texarkana and you need to be in the Arkansas side as opposed to the Texas side, or in Texoma and you're on the Oklahoma side and you need the Texas side, they can actually give you the actual digit number to get that. But usually 811 will get you exactly what you need to do. My company has a website as well. It's LoneStar811.com. Has all the information how to get in touch with us. But just remember to call. It's important. It's all about safety. It's about getting back to your loved ones the same way you left. That's the whole point of it, is to make sure everybody works safely around these utilities.
Very good, Josh. Well, we appreciate it. I can imagine the Louisiana side of the border answering the phone and saying, "All right, now which alligator chewed off your TV antenna?"
Well, so Louisiana doesn't listen, so we can make fun of them.
Yeah. That's right. We still are.
That's right. We're coming at you, Louisiana.
Yeah, right. Bringing it.
Well, the funny thing is, when I was a locator, I had I used to have to close out tickets where I couldn't go because I had a bad dog, and I actually did some locating in Florida, and I had to close out the ticket where I couldn't locate it because there was a 6-foot gator in the backyard. So
No way.
if I'm lying, I'm crying, and I ain't shed a tear. So it's been a fun ride. So it's pretty cool.
That is a good job, and it definitely helps.
You want to give it that phone number for 811 again one more time?
Yeah, it's everybody get ready.
Pen, I got my pencil.
It's 8, and then 1, and then 1.
You mind if I put that in the program notes in case anybody forgets what 811's phone number is?
Put that in order.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not numerical order. It's backwards numerical order. 811.
Got it. Awesome.
Like if you were doing a countdown from 8 to 1, but you skipped all the 2 through 7 and just went 8 to 1s.
And then stuttered. Yeah.
Now that's easier to remember.
I got it.
And then don't forget, on August 11th, that is 811 day.
Okay.
So
makes sense.
That as well.
Nice.
It makes sense. So it's not November 8th.
Negative.
Okay. No. Okay. Okay, so we've been hearing a big debate on the interwebs here the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
So I'm going to play an audio piece that's been around and going like crazy. Tell me what you all hear. You all ready?
Yes.
No. I'm hearing something totally different now.
I am too.
What are you hearing?
Laurel.
And you heard what before?
Yanny.
Does that freak you out or what?
Dude, are you playing the same clip?
I'm playing the same clip.
Same exact
clip.
For real.
Yes.
Play it again.
So, okay, I'm going to play it again.
You're messing with me.
It's not.
I swear,
It's not even the
one.
same tone as the first one.
Okay, here's the one. I'm going to do the one that was on my headphones. So this is the same exact site, except that one was done on my phone, right into the microphone. The next one I'm going to have playing through my earphones on through the monitor, and I'm going to put my earphones up to the mic. So excuse me if you hear some shuffling, but here we go. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Laurel.
Dude.
What do you hear now?
Laurel.
Totally hear Laurel.
Weird.
That I swear that is the same exact recording that you thought was Yanni. How does that mess with your mind?
All right, so so we probably should get the listeners caught up on this.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, this is the Laurel versus Yanni thing that's been flying around the internet lately. But before we were putting together the show today, we were like, well, we should talk about that Yanni or Laurel thing because it's a thing that people are talking about these days. And so we listened to the clip before we started it.
Yeah, you listened to this one.
Yeah. And so before we did the show Steve and I both were like, oh, that's Yanni. It's saying Yanni. It's so clear. I can't even imagine how you could even hear Laurel. But now you're playing it and all I can hear is Laurel.
And that's exactly the exact same. I still had it pulled up. It's the exact same clip. All I did was hit play.
That is
There's somebody in this world that's screwing with the entire world population right now.
I agree.
Gotta be.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I was listening to this in the truck on the way to work this morning, and literally the first 2 or 3 times I played it, Yanni was clear as day. Like there was no doubt. And I was like going, how do I don't even know a Yanni. I know a Laurel. Why can't I hear Laurel? And I played it 3 times and I never could hear anything but Yanni. And then when I stopped the car and was sitting at my office, I played it a couple more times and then I couldn't hear Yanni again. All I heard was Laurel. I was like, I couldn't get myself to hear Yanni. So that's the same thing that's happening with y'all right now, right?
It's the exact same thing.
I mean, try it. Here, I'll play it again louder. See if you can even try to make out Yanni now.
Laurel.
What do y'all hear?
Laurel. Yeah.
Laurel.
Is that weird? I'm telling you, it is messing with minds.
That is the strangest thing.
This reminds me of those pictures that when you stare at them long enough, there's another picture behind it. But I never saw the other picture. I mean, if somebody got that for me as a gift, I would still never be fulfilled by it because
you're missing out on something. Those are some cool pictures.
I finally figured out how to do those things. They're amazing. Whoever came up with that. But like you say, it took me a long time. I was trying to go cross. I mean, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was standing on my head. I couldn't figure it out. And that's the same thing as this. This is like that. It was just like that whole, like you were talking about, Josh, the whole blue dress gig, right? So did you all see that one? Dude, was it last year?
Wasn't it gold or something?
It was blue.
It was either blue or white, wasn't it? Or something, or blue or gold. What was it? It was blue or something.
I don't even know.
Maybe it was gold. I don't remember.
Yanni had a blue dress and Laurel had a gold dress.
Yes. But if you look at Laurel too long, she turns into Yanni. It's weird. So after this episode, when we go live on this episode, we're doing a poll, and we want people to tell us what did you hear, because like I said, when we started at the beginning, we were divided. Josh and I clearly heard Laurel. You all clearly heard Yanni, and now we all can hear. Did you still hear Laurel, Josh?
Yeah.
Still clear as day on Laurel. So it's weird, but what I've seen on the Facebook is the majority of people who are posting hear Yanni.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's all I could hear before the show was Yanni. I mean, I was even trying to hear Laurel, like trying to listen for Laurel somewhere in there, and it wasn't there. But now, God, I can't hear anything but Laurel.
Yeah. It's really, it messes with your mind. I'm like literally, I'm just trying. Like if I hold this farther away, is it here sounding different?
Nope.
No.
That's weird. Anyway.
Mine is blown.
Yeah, whoever came up with that was pretty smart with their audio tuning or something. So
whatever they did.
So anyway, but yeah, we'll put a vote up. We'd love to hear your opinion. So let us know what you hear, because our minds are all blown over here. So we're curious what you hear, and if you've heard it change, have anybody that's heard this change like we have, let us know. So pretty crazy. Yeah. So I've got to tell you a little story. One day this guy was fixing a car, and he accidentally got brake oil in his mouth.
Oh yeah.
He was about to spit it out, but then he thought, this tastes pretty good. So, he keep drinking the brake oil. Well, later on, his friends were getting kind of worried about him, and they were like, dude, this cannot be healthy. And the guy was like, don't worry, I can stop anytime. Because it's brake fluid. Oh, come on. Come on, that was good.
Hey, Keith.
Yeah. Josh is about to. Okay, what's up, Josh?
You know why you shouldn't write with a broken pencil?
I don't know.
Why is it?
It's pointless.
Okay, that's a good one. Oh man.
Hey,
so y'all know Go ahead.
Did y'all hear about the Mexican train killer?
The Mexican train killer.
Yeah.
Mexican train killer.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Where's the comma in that sentence?
Yeah.
He had locomotives.
Oh my gosh. and speaking of, we'd like to welcome our first listeners from Mexico.
Yes, absolutely. Viva Mexico.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Hey, you know about jokes, right, Keith?
Yeah, I do. What about them?
Well, you know why it's inappropriate for someone who isn't a dad to tell a dad joke?
Why?
It's a faux pas.
Oh,
yeah. That's a repeat.
We've had that one.
That is, but it's still a good one. So have I told you all
the Josh hasn't listened to them all.
Yeah, that's right. So did I? So I've been doing all this travel baseball, right? So did I tell you the baseball story yet? I can't remember if I've told you this or not. Okay. Yeah. So this is, I know, this is a kind of a religious-y thing, but it's still funny. So one day the devil challenged the Lord to a baseball game, and smiling, the Lord proclaimed, "You don't have a chance. I have Babe Ruth, I have Mickey Mantle, and all the greatest players up here." And the devil replied, snickering, "Yeah, but I've got all the umpires." And being to a little league game, I can tell you every parent in that stand can relate to this.
I bet.
Man, some of those parents are, I mean, it's just like, I just want to wear them sometimes. It's crazy, some of those folks. But
hey, you know what time the man went to the dentist?
What time the man?
2:30.
2:30. Oh, no.
Yeah. Have we had that before? I know.
That's the first one you've been caught on, bro.
Okay, I got one more.
Oh, Josh has another one.
It's
Go for it.
What's brown and sticky?
Oh, gosh.
I'm sorry.
So many things.
Yeah, right. What's brown and sticky? Okay, I don't know.
A stick.
Oh.
Jeez.
I've seen that one somewhere before. That's a good one. Well, you know what, Josh? We're gonna shut her down, but we appreciate you being on both last week for the Star Wars episode, and thanks for coming back and joining us again with this one. Remember, everybody, 811. So make sure that you look at the show notes to dial it correctly. and we appreciate all y'all do, Josh. So thank you for kind of educating us a little bit better about how that can really help us while we're trying to get out and do things around the home. So
thanks,
any last thoughts, guys?
Oh, it was a fun one.
Nope. Thanks for coming on, Josh.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we'll hopefully have you on again, man.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, well, listen, why don't you sign us off, Steve?
Hey, well, another great episode. Thanks again to our guest, Josh. Thanks to all of our listeners helping make the zone a better place for everybody. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you next time on episode 18. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks again for listening to the Testosterone Zone. We sure had a blast visiting with you. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe, leave us some feedback, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
All Testosterone podcast episodes are written and produced by Noel, Keith, and Steve unless otherwise noted.
The opinions expressed in the Testosterone podcast are our own and not those of our employers, families, parents, kids, dogs, cats, your mom, or any other entity Noel, Keith, or Steve are affiliated with now, in the past, or in the future, or ever.